the problems were realized at the level of language teaching and literature. The language teaching itself is a very, very gigantic task. Especially when language teaching became very ramified, very, very expanded and enhanced and so on and so forth. And many English teachers of Nepal went abroad to get training in English language teaching. There was no literature. I was one of very few who went to Edinburgh University to study literature and teaching literature for language studies. That was very rare courses. I was fortunate to have been sent to do that course. But anyway, many teachers went abroad for training in ELT. Now the focus was on language teaching as such. Don't worry about the content part. Who would worry about the content part? What was important was the methods, methodology, and structuration of the English syllabus that we learned and we came here and taught. Some of our colleagues learned British accent, and then when they came here in the classroom, they sounded very funny at that time. They imitated British accent, some imitated American accent. No, you shouldn't say that. This is the pronunciation. Some of them. And when they asked, after returning from the training in Britain, one very important scholar, faculty member asked, he has returned from Britain after completing the TSC, and he asked, how are his consonants? Is it changed? No, his consonants haven't changed. So we pushed this to a certain funny extreme, some of our trainings. That didn't work. And we became pragmatic. You all came when we had already become pragmatic. You become leaders of Nelta when we had all become pragmatic. When we started feigning, pretending to be trained in English, and you got Nelta and English faculties and design syllabuses to teach at the university. And some of the students did PhD with me. For example, Tapasi Bhattacharya, I remember. That was a phase when the learners and researchers had come to bring language, skill and literature together. And some of our students, our graduates, let's say, sir, graduate, the BA मात्रै हो नि भनेर एकजना. Some of our graduates, they started working in the mass media, English mass media, English. They are still working in Nepal. Dinesh Bhai has a different discipline, but he contributed a lot, trained a lot of very skilled young people who are still working there. His contribution is very important in that, and I have seen that how he has edited and introduced and trained the young people. So the mass media and English language, literature, cultural studies started coming together without anybody's efforts. Singular effort, I believe. Without anybody's singular effort, people started bringing all these faculties, different skills together. Literature, language, aesthetics, and mass media. They started coming together. But who would take up the causal and design a syllabus that would address all these factors? When I was the chairman of the subject committee of Nepal's Kathmandu University's Department of English, with the help of my colleagues, we did bring some changes. some transformations, but it was not easy. Not easy for two reasons. One, we have the Department of Literature, we have the Department of Linguistics, who specialize in different fields. But we realize that we have some space in the English department. I happened to be the chairman of that department at that time. And my colleagues were very, very learned people, guru figures. We all sat together and said, let's make it interdisciplinary. Let us make it more cultural studies oriented syllabus. Let us open the door to other forms of studies also. Studies under the English department. What would be the connection of the English department? The connection is the English language, cultural studies, which means, in simple terms, the meaning of cultural studies is to break the canons. Breaking the canon is the first responsibility of cultural studies. Don't remain fixed to one studies only, bring them together. Most importantly, bring the voice of the voiceless to the fore. For grounding of the voice of the voiceless is the most important principal karma, siddhanta of such studies. And that's the spirit of cultural studies. And we opened, at one point we realized we opened, but did we open the floodgate? Pandora's box? Because the students came up with so many different unrelated ideas to do PhD. Sir, मैले चाहिँ यसमा हेर्ने विचार गरेँ। मैले आफूसँगले लेखेका उपन्यासहरू लिएको छु। यसमा अलिकति ऊ पनि हाल्छु, हेर्छु, त्यो पनि हेर्छु। हेर्दा हेर्दै they created a jumbo of a subject, and some did PhD, also very nice PhD works. I personally supervised some and gave an opinion and became the external examiner also. But they did some work. That was the result of that change that we introduced in the English department. And what about the syllabus at the college level? We were the culprits. If we failed to incorporate syllabuses where students would bring these interdisciplinary subjects, media, culture, literature together, that was our responsibility. If we fail in that, that was our failure. We should take up the responsibility. I still do take up the responsibility of some of the failures. Historical failures, I take up the responsibility. My colleagues also take the responsibility. My students, very senior, senior students, very learned students, trained in very important institutions, and also the media person like Bakul Uddhav. Uddhavलाई पनि अंग्रेजी पढाएको छ नि, यो सिक्रेट छ नि, Uddhav, Bakurel, others. So they did their share of service to the evolution of a discipline that would address the needs of the time. Addressing the needs of the time. What are the needs? What needs were the academic needs? Not only academic needs, the needs of the society. That's what mass media is about. You are here, this meeting, the needs of the society. They have played a very important role, significant role. The media is nowadays putting ideas from different strands of thought together. Then the question still remains, what are you going to do as far as pedagogy is concerned? Why I was excited, jumped when I read the long mail of Ekumaya Bun the other day. Wow, here you are doing this. And Uddhav Pakural, when he called me to participate as a member of the faculty board, to participate in the discussion about this syllabus, I was excited. Why I was excited? There are two reasons. One is the experience I told you behind me. Long history of the struggle to create a pattern of pedagogy where all these different disciplines and strands would come together, struggle and maybe fail. I am an avatar of failure also, being responsible for the design of the syllabus and we failed. We made achievements also. Who would bring them together? We're looking for somebody. Now, even on a small scale, you have made a humble beginning. With this, you have made a humble beginning. But this is a beginning, important beginning. Let me tell you some of your challenges and some of the disasters if you fail. The disaster is that if you fail to bring what you say English literature, मजाले भन्दैछ English literature and mass communication together in one syllabus under one rubric. The rubric is one. Under this rubric you have put English literature and mass media. निकै ठुलो साहस गाँठ्यो. Mass media and English literature. There is a lot of discussion still going on. How do you put mass media under the heading rubric of mass media and walk into the classroom? Walking into the classroom is a very difficult task. Walking into the classroom with a program is the most challenging thing I have ever experienced in my life as a teacher. Confidently, you walk into the classroom confidently with literature and mass media. With one hand, not even duita haat pani bhaneko cha, एउटै हातमा. Literature and mass media you carry and enter into the classroom. How do you put these two together? My experience as the teacher of the Department of Literature says it has always been a very precarious path for me. But now, only some months ago I was reading as an external examiner a thesis written by one student, very shy student. साह्रो गर्नु त गरिएछ खोइ के हो आफूले सक्नेसम्म गरिए हो के रे. He took up the cudgels, made efforts in that, and then I said, okay, maybe some success, we can see some success here. The efforts that we made about by bringing literature, mass media, and cultural studies. In the sense of Raymond Williams, I want to stress again and again, because you are all scholars and you know what Raymond Williams and Stuart Hall mean, that kind of cultural studies. When they brought together, that involves some amount of breaking. It involves some amount of breaking. You have introduced what you have not yet broken. अब आउँछ पुरा क्लासमा बसेको कति तोड्ने कति राख्ने तोड्ने अझै आउँछ. That involves some breaking. How do you make a jump from literature studies to the mass media? That is an interesting challenge.